A feller buncher can cost you anywhere from $200,000 to over $700,000. That is a house on tracks rolling through the forest. Now imagine spending that kind of money, and the machine breaks down every other week, eats hydraulic fluid like water, and leaves you stranded in the middle of nowhere with a payment due at the end of the month. Today we are counting down 10 feller bunchers that made loggers absolutely miserable. Machines so frustrating, operators refuse to climb back inside. Number 10. Prentice 410E. The Prentice name has deep roots in the logging industry. Founded in the 1940s by Leo Heikkinen near the village of Prentice, Wisconsin, the company built its reputation on hydraulic log loaders that were practically bulletproof. When Blount Inc. expanded the brand into wheeled feller bunchers, operators expected that same ruggedness. The 410E was positioned as a compact, entry-level wheeled feller buncher aimed at smaller logging operations and thinning work. The hydraulic system was a persistent source of frustration. Flow rates were insufficient for fast cycle times. The boom response lagged, the accumulator arms were sluggish, and by the end of a shift, the lack of production was painfully obvious on the landing. The hydrostatic drive components wore faster than expected, particularly on hilly terrain where the wheels were constantly fighting for traction. Replacing hydrostatic pumps and motors is not a minor repair. It is a major expense that can sideline a machine for days. The articulation joint developed excessive play well within the machine's prime working life, making steering imprecise and raising safety concerns in tight timber. As the Prentice wheeled line went through ownership changes from Blount to Caterpillar, parts availability for older E-Series models dried up. Dealers were focused on newer machines, and the 410E fell further down the priority list. For anyone who expected real production, the 410E was a lesson in getting what you pay for. Number 9. Hydro Axe 411X. Hydro Axe has a long and storied history in the forestry industry. The brand started under Omark Industries, was purchased by Blount Inc. in 1985, and was eventually absorbed into Caterpillar's forestry division in 2007. The Hydro Axe name was rebranded to Prentice around 2006. During its run, Hydro Axe produced some legendary machines, the 670 and 511EX among them. But the 411EX was a different story. The 411EX was positioned as a lighter, more affordable entry into the wheel feller buncher market. It used a Cummins 5.9-liter diesel engine, a proven engine in many applications, but in the 411EX, many operators felt it was underpowered for the demands being placed on it. When you are running a hot saw head and simultaneously driving a four-wheel drive machine through soft ground, mud, and steep terrain, you need horsepower reserves. The 411EX simply did not have enough. The hydraulic system on the 411EX was a constant source of complaints. Operators reported that the machine could not keep up during high production cutting. The cycle times were noticeably slower compared to its bigger siblings, which meant less wood on the ground at the end of the day. For a logger who gets paid by production, slower cycle times translate directly into less money. The machine also had issues with its articulation joint. On a wheeled feller buncher, the articulation point is arguably the most critical structural component. It is what allows the machine to turn and navigate through tight timber stands. On the 411EX, this joint was known to develop excessive play over time, leading to sloppy steering and potential safety concerns. Operators who moved up from the 411EX to a 511EX or 611EX often said it was like night and day. The 411EX tried to do too much with too little, and that made it one of the most disliked wheeled feller bunchers in the Hydro Axe lineup. Number 8. Caterpillar 541. We already talked about the Caterpillar 501 HD at number 6, but Cat's early feller buncher struggles were not limited to one model. The 541 was their full tail swing tracked feller buncher, aimed at high production clear-cut operations where operators needed maximum swing speed and cutting power. It was bigger and heavier than the 501 HD, and it came with its own set of headaches. The full tail swing design offered faster cycle times, but it introduced a serious problem in tight timber. The tail end extended well beyond the tracks during rotation, which meant in selective cutting or along leaf strips, the operator constantly had to watch what was behind the machine. In dense stands, the tail would clip standing timber, damaging both the trees and the machine. Operators coming from zero-tail swing platforms like TigerCat or Timbco found this maddening. The Cat C9 Acert engine had a troubled reputation during this era. Operators reported injector failures, turbocharger issues, and a cooling system that could not keep up in warm climates. The southeastern United States is not forgiving for a machine with marginal cooling capacity. When temperatures climb into the 90s and the machine is running at full load for 10 hours, everything has to work perfectly. On the 541, it often did not. The undercarriage carried Caterpillar pricing, and when track chains, rollers, idlers, and sprockets needed replacement, the bills were substantially higher than competing machines. Caterpillar has since invested heavily in their forestry division, and the newer tracked feller bunchers are far more refined. But the 541 represented a period where Cat was still learning the forestry business, and operators paid the tuition. Number 7, Timberjack 608S. Timberjack was a respected name in forestry equipment with roots going back to the 1940s. The company went through multiple ownership changes over the decades, eventually being acquired by John Deere in 2000. Before that acquisition, Timberjack produced a range of feller bunchers, harvesters, and skidders. The 608S was a wheeled feller buncher that had a troubled reputation. The biggest complaint was the drivetrain. The 608S used a hydrostatic drive system that operators found finicky and unreliable. In cold weather, the system was slow to warm up and respond. In hot weather, it was prone to overheating. Finding that sweet spot where everything worked properly was a challenge, and loggers in extreme climates, whether it was the frozen forests of Minnesota or the sweltering heat of Alabama, found the 608S frustrating. The cab on the 608S was also a sore point. Visibility was limited compared to competitors, and the control layout was not intuitive. Operators who switched between different brands often struggled to adapt to the Timberjack's controls, which increased the risk of operator error. When John Deere acquired Timberjack, they gradually phased out the older designs and integrated Timberjack's technology into their own forestry line. Many operators saw that as a positive development. The John Deere branded machines that followed benefited from better engineering, better components, and a vastly superior dealer and service network. The 608S is remembered as a machine from a transitional period, a time when Timberjack was changing hands and investing less in new development. That neglect showed up on the job site. Number 6, Caterpillar 501 HD. When Caterpillar, one of the biggest names in heavy equipment, entered the purpose-built feller buncher market, expectations were sky high. Cat had already proven itself with dozers, excavators, and loaders. Loggers expected the same level of quality and reliability in the forestry division. The 501 HD was one of Caterpillar's early entries into the tracked feller buncher market, and it did not live up to those expectations. The primary issue was the undercarriage. Despite Cat's expertise with tracked machinery, the 501 HD's undercarriage was not adequately designed for the specific demands of forestry work. Logging terrain is vastly different from a construction site. You are dealing with stumps, roots, rocks, uneven ground, and constant debris. The 501 HD's undercarriage components wore out faster than operators expected, and replacing undercarriage parts on a feller buncher is one of the most expensive maintenance items there is. The hydraulic system on the 501 HD was also criticized. Operators felt the boom response was sluggish compared to what companies like Timco and Tigercat were offering at the time. In high production logging, every second counts. If your boom takes an extra half second to respond on every cycle, that adds up to significant lost production over an 8 or 10-hour shift. The cooling system was another weak point. In warm climate operations, think the southeastern United States, where a huge portion of commercial logging takes place, the 501 HD struggled to keep engine and hydraulic temperatures in check. Overheating shutdowns were common during summer months. Caterpillar has since made significant improvements to their forestry line. The newer 500 series machines are far more competitive, but the 501 HD left a bad taste in a lot of operators' mouths. And in the forestry community, word of mouth carries enormous weight. Number 5, Prentice 2470C. After Caterpillar acquired Blount's forestry division in 2007, the Prentice brand continued for a time. The Prentice 2470C was a tracked feller buncher that was supposed to compete with established tracked models from Tigercat, John Deere, and the Timco/TimberPro lineage. It fell short. The 2470C was seen by many operators as a repackaged hydroax design with insufficient updates. The engine, while adequate on paper, struggled under the demands of continuous high production felling. The machine simply did not have the hydraulic flow and pressure that operators needed for fast cycle times with larger saw heads. Structural integrity was also a concern. The boom and stick on the 2470C were reported to develop cracks earlier than they should have, especially in heavy timber applications. When you are cutting hardwood in steep terrain and constantly swinging heavy loads, the boom takes tremendous stress. A boom that cracks prematurely is not just a maintenance issue, it is a safety hazard. When Caterpillar eventually consolidated its forestry offerings under the Cat brand and retired the Prentice name for tracked machines, few operators mourned the loss. Number 4. John Deere 643K. This entry comes with a massive asterisk. John Deere is widely regarded as one of the best manufacturers of forestry equipment in the world. Their dealer network, parts availability, and customer support are best in class. The later versions of the K-Series and the subsequent M-Series machines are excellent, but the early Tier 4 interim versions of the 643K had real problems. When the United States Environmental Protection Agency mandated Tier 4 emission standards for off-road diesel engines, every equipment manufacturer had to adapt. The goal was to drastically reduce nitrogen oxide and particulate matter emissions. To accomplish this, manufacturers added diesel particulate filters, diesel exhaust fluid systems, exhaust gas recirculation, and other after-treatment components. On the early 643K models, these new systems caused significant headaches. The diesel particulate filter required periodic regeneration, a process where the filter heats up to burn off accumulated soot. In forestry applications, where the machine is constantly surrounded by flammable material like bark, sawdust, dry leaves, and wood chips, having a component that superheats is a genuine fire risk. Several operators reported their machines initiating regeneration cycles at the worst possible times. The DPF system also caused engine derating. When the filter became clogged or the regeneration did not complete properly, the engine management system would reduce power to protect itself. An operator in the middle of a productive cut would suddenly find their machine running at half power with no warning. In steep terrain, this could be dangerous. The diesel exhaust fluid system added another layer of complexity. DEF has to be stored properly. It freezes at 12 degrees Fahrenheit, and running out of DEF on some Tier 4 systems would put the engine into a severe derate or shut it down entirely. John Deere addressed these issues through software updates and hardware revisions over time. The later production 643K machines and the 643L that followed were significantly better, but those early adopters paid a steep price in downtime, frustration, and lost production. Number 3, TMBCO T445D. Timbco was founded by logger Pat Crawford in Shawano, Wisconsin, and the company revolutionized the feller buncher industry with its engine-up design, placing the engine on the upper turntable so it stays level with the cab at all times. Timbco machines built during Crawford's ownership, models like the 425B and early 445 series, are regarded as some of the most reliable feller bunchers ever made. Some operators have reported running early Timbco 425B machines for over 35,000 hours. In 2000, Swedish conglomerate Partech, later known as Valmet, acquired Timbco. Under Valmet ownership, some operators noticed a gradual decline in build quality. The T445D, produced during this transitional period, received mixed reviews. The hydraulic system, which had been one of Timbco's strongest selling points, reportedly suffered from quality control issues. Operators on forums like the Forestry Forum and Arborist site reported finding metal shavings and brass fragments in hydraulic filters at alarmingly low hours. Internal pump and motor wear that should not have appeared until 10,000 hours or more was showing up at 5,000 or 6,000 hours. Parts availability also became an issue, with Timbco's identity being absorbed into the Valmet and eventually Komatsu forestry lineup. The dedicated Timbco parts pipeline began to dry up. Operators who loved the Timbco platform found themselves scrambling for components. Pat Crawford recognized this problem, and in 2002, at age 77, he bought back the wheel division and started TimberPro Inc., which continues to build machines in Shawano, Wisconsin to this day. The non-compete for the track division expired in 2007, and TimberPro began building track machines as well, essentially carrying forward the original Timbco design philosophy. The T445D under Valmet is a cautionary tale about what happens when a specialized forestry manufacturer gets absorbed into a larger corporation that does not fully understand the logging industry. Number 2, Hydro Axe 570. The Hydro Axe 570 is another wheeled feller buncher that generated significant frustration among operators. Positioned as a mid-size machine in the Hydro Axe lineup, the 570 was powered by a Cummins 5.9-liter engine and was marketed toward operations doing lighter thinning work and small to medium timber harvesting. The core problem with the 570 was that it tried to straddle two worlds. It was too small and underpowered for serious production work, but it was too expensive and complex for the light-duty applications where a simpler machine might suffice. Loggers who bought the 570 expecting it to perform like a scaled-down 670 were consistently disappointed. The hydrostatic drive system on the 570 was a persistent headache. Operators reported that the drive pumps and motors wore out prematurely, especially when the machine was operated in hilly or soft ground conditions where the drivetrain was under constant load. Replacing hydrostatic drive components is enormously expensive, often running into tens of thousands of dollars for parts alone, not counting labor and downtime. With the Hydro Axe brand being absorbed first into Prentice and then into Caterpillar, getting original specification parts for the 570 became increasingly difficult over the years. Many 570 units ended up being parted out rather than repaired, which tells you everything you need to know about how the market valued these machines. Number 1, Barko 275B. At number 1, we have a machine that consistently comes up in operator discussions as one of the most frustrating feller bunchers ever produced. The Barko 275B was a tracked feller buncher manufactured by Barko Hydraulics, a company based in Superior, Wisconsin. Barko had a solid reputation in the log loader and knuckle boom market. Their loaders were well regarded for reliability and value. But the 275B feller buncher was a step into unfamiliar territory, and it showed. The boom design on the 275B also drew criticism. The reach was limited compared to competing machines from John Deere, Tigercat, and Timbco, which meant the operator had to reposition the machine more frequently. More repositioning means more track wear, more fuel consumption, and lower production rates. Over the course of a full day, the difference in production between a long-reach machine and a short-reach machine can be substantial. The engine on the 275B, while adequate in terms of raw horsepower, was not well matched to the hydraulic system. Operators reported that the engine would lug down during heavy cutting, especially with larger diameter trees. When the engine lugs, the hydraulic pumps cannot maintain full flow and pressure, which makes every function on the machine slower and less responsive. The undercarriage on the 275B was another weak point. Track adjusters, idlers, rollers, and sprockets wore out faster than the competition. For a tracked machine working in abrasive conditions, sand, gravel, rocky ground, undercarriage life is critical. When your undercarriage components are wearing out at 7,000 or 8,000 hours instead of 12,000 or 15,000, you are spending significantly more on maintenance over the life of the machine. And finally, the cab. The operator spends 8 to 12 hours a day inside that cab, and on the 275B, it was not a pleasant experience. The noise levels were higher than the competition, the climate control system was barely adequate, and the visibility through the windows and guarding was restricted. When you are surrounded by falling trees and swinging loads, you need to see everything around you. Limited visibility is not just a comfort issue, it is a safety issue. Barko has since refocused its efforts on what it does best, log loaders and material handlers, and the 275B has faded from production. But for the operators who ran them, the memories linger. If you are a logger or equipment operator who has run any of these machines, drop a comment below and tell us about your experience. We know there are stories out there that could fill an entire series. And if you think we missed one that deserves to be on this list, let us know, because the logging community has long memories and strong opinions. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next video. Until then, keep the saw sharp and the hydraulic fluid clean.